With profound humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 2 of 4.
Etc.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Rancangan kami menawarkan banyak bahasa. Sila kunjungi suprememastertv.com/kehadapan schedule.
They have to bring their divine self to guide their every thought and action, every day and at every moment of their lives. A true theosophist ought to deal justly and walk humbly. Please continue watching to hear more about the wisdom of Theosophy.
Vegan side effect. Don't recognize yourself? You are just younger and more beautiful.
Witajcie. I just said welcome in Gaural dialect. Compassionate viewers, I am Jakub. The Honorable Gaurals praise you for your innovative measures to help protect our natural environment and the habitat of all the animal people. Noble viewers, welcome to On Self-Improvement, Part 2 of Selections from Theosophy's Sacred Teachings in The Key to Theosophy. Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky was born in 1831 into a noble family in Ukraine. As a child, young Helena displayed a gift for clairvoyance as well as an interest in metaphysical phenomena. Years later, she traveled throughout Europe, the Middle East, and India, studying with various teachers and Sufi saints. Following the guidance of an Indian yogi named Mahatma Maurya, Madame Blavatsky co-founded the Theosophical Society. Theosophy, meaning divine wisdom, refers to knowledge that comes through spiritual experience rather than intellectual understanding alone. The Theosophical Society is dedicated to uplifting humanity through a realization of the oneness of life and the wisdom underlying all religions. Madame Blavatsky wrote several important books on Theosophy, including Isis Unveiled, The Secret Doctrine, The Key to Theosophy, and The Voice of the Silence. The Key to Theosophy unlocks the door that leads to a deeper study of Theosophy. In contrast to other Theosophy volumes, it is written in simple, explanatory language. Readers are thus able to more easily understand its fundamental principles. Today, on Words of Wisdom, we invite you to join us for excerpts from The Key to Theosophy. On self-improvement. Enquirer, is moral elevation then the principal thing insisted upon in your society? Theosophist, undoubtedly, he who would be a true theosophist must bring himself to live as one. Enquirer, if so, then as I remarked before, the behavior of some members strangely belies this fundamental rule. Theosophist, indeed it does. But this cannot be helped among us any more than amongst those who call themselves Christians and act like fiends. This is no fault of our statutes and rules, but that of human nature. Even in some exoteric public branches, the members pledge themselves on their higher self to live the life prescribed by Theosophy. They have to bring their divine self to guide their every thought and action, every day and at every moment of their lives. A true Theosophist ought to deal justly and walk humbly. Enquirer: what do you mean by this? Theosophist: simply this: the one self has to forget itself for the many selves. Let me answer you in the words of a true Philalethian, an FTS, Fellow of the Theosophical Society, who has beautifully expressed it in the Theosophist. What every man needs first is to find himself and then take an honest inventory of his subjective possessions, and, bad or bankrupt as it may be, it is not beyond redemption if we set about it in earnest. But how many do? All are willing to work for their own development and progress, very few for those of others. To quote the same writer again, "Men have been deceived and deluded long enough. They must break their idols, put away their shams, and go to work for themselves. Nay, there is one little word too much or too many. For he who works for himself had better not work at all. Rather, let him work himself for others, for all. For every flower of love and charity he plants in his neighbor's garden, a loathsome weed will disappear from his own. And so this garden of the gods, humanity, shall blossom as a rose." In all Bibles, all religions, this is plainly set forth, but designing men have at first misinterpreted and finally emasculated, materialized, besotted them. It does not require a new revelation. Let every man be a revelation unto himself. Let one man's immortal spirit take possession of the temple of his body, drive out the money changers and every unclean thing, and his own divine humanity will redeem him. For when he is thus at one with himself, he will know the builder of the temple. Enquirer: this is pure altruism, I confess. Theosophist: it is. And if only one fellow of the Theosophical Society out of 10 would practice it, ours would be a body of elect indeed. But there are those among the outsiders who will always refuse to see the essential difference between Theosophy and the Theosophical Society, the idea and its imperfect embodiment. Such would visit every sin and shortcoming of the vehicle, the human body, on the pure spirit which sheds thereon its divine light. Is this just to either? They throw stones at an association that tries to work up to and for the propagation of its ideal with most tremendous odds against it. Some vilify the Theosophical Society only because it presumes to attempt to do that in which other systems, Church and State Christianity preeminently, have failed most egregiously. Others because they would gladly preserve the existing state of things. Pharisees and Sadducees in the seat of Moses, and publicans and sinners reveling in high places, as under the Roman Empire during its decadence. Fair-minded people, at any rate, ought to remember that the man who does all he can does as much as he who has achieved the most in this world of relative possibilities. This is a simple truism, an axiom supported for believers in the Gospels by the parable of the talents given by their master. The servant who doubled his 2 talents was rewarded as much as that other fellow servant who had received 5. To every man it is given according to his several abilities. Enquirer: yet it is rather difficult to draw the line of demarcation between the abstract and the concrete in this case, as we have only the latter to make our judgment by. Theosophist: then why make an exception for the Theosophical Society? Justice, like charity, ought to begin at home. Will you revile and scoff at the Sermon on the Mount because your social, political, and even religious laws have so far not only failed to carry out its precepts in their spirit, but even in their dead letter? Abolish the oath in courts, parliament, army, and everywhere, and do as the Quakers do if you will call yourselves Christians. Abolish the courts themselves, for if you would follow the commandments of Christ, you have to give away your coat to him who deprives you of your cloak, and turn your left cheek to the bully who smites you on the right. Resist not evil, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you. For whosoever shall break one of the least of these commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. And whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. And why should you judge if you would not be judged in your turn? Insist that between Theosophy and the Theosophical Society there is no difference, and forthwith you lay the system of Christianity and its very essence open to the same charges, only in a more serious form. Inquirer: why more serious? Theosophist: because while the leaders of the Theosophical movement, recognizing fully their shortcomings, try all they can do to amend their ways and uproot the evil existing in the society, and while their rules and bylaws are framed in the spirit of Theosophy, the legislators and the churches of nations and countries which call themselves Christian do the reverse. Our members, even the worst among them, are no worse than the average Christian. Moreover, if the Western Theosophists experience so much difficulty in leading the true theosophical life, it is because they are all the children of their generation. Every one of them was a Christian, bred and brought up in the sophistry of his church, his social customs, and even his paradoxical laws. He was this before he became a Theosophist, or rather a member of the society of that name, as it cannot be too often repeated that between the abstract ideal and its vehicle there is a most important difference.
You don't need meat, you need health, you need nourishment, you need to know you did a good thing today. Be good, go vegan. Francis Fisher, vegan.
Kind-hearted viewers, thank you for your kind company today for Words of Wisdom. Coming up next is the resilient Maka people, traditional stewards of the forest, right after noteworthy news. May your noble deeds and words be forever blessed with heaven's ever-loving grace.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW